I'm joined now by my former ABC News colleague and former acting CDC director, Dr. Richard Besser, now president and CEO of the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. Thanks so much for joining us, Dr. B.
Great to be here, Lindsay.
So first, just put into context how significant Pfizer's announcement is today about the vaccine now being safe and effective for children who are 5 to 11 with regard to the big picture as far as trying to finally get this pandemic under control.
Well, you know, Lindsay, I won't feel comfortable with the data until it's been reviewed by FDA and independent scientists. But I don't think we are going to get this pandemic under control until we have vaccines for all age groups. And you know, as a pediatrician, as a parent, I'm thankful that younger children do much better with this infection than older people. But that being said, there have been over 5 million cases in children, and currently there are about 300 hospitalizations in children every week. And so it's not something that we should trivialize in terms of the direct impact on kids. I'd be very excited to have a safe and effective vaccine I could recommend to my patients.
And what should parents understand as far as the safety and effectiveness of the smaller dosage that Pfizer is saying would be used for those who are under the age of 12?
Yeah, I mean, there's some challenges in doing these kinds of approvals for children, because what you'd like to know is, you know, how good this vaccine is at preventing disease, at preventing severe disease, preventing hospitalizations, and preventing kids from dying. But that would take an enormous study, given how mild the infection is in most children who get it. And so the types of studies that they do, they look to see, does the vaccine give the same antibody levels, the same levels of protective factors in young children than it does in others? And then the conclusion is, if it gives that same kind of response, it will be as protective. Until it's used in larger populations, you won't be able to do the studies to say, okay, it's 90% effective or 80% effective. And until it's used in larger populations, you won't be able to know, are there rare side effects in younger children you didn't see in other populations? Because this trial was only done in less than 3,000 children, and many of the side effects that we've seen in adults, that we've seen in older children, didn't show up until it was given to millions of people.
And we're still seeing vaccine hesitancy among some adults, of course. Any concern that there might be even more hesitancy when it comes to vaccinating young children, regardless of what the data shows as far as the safety of it?
Well, I think there will be more hesitancy. I think we're going to see the public breakdown into those parents who will have their children in line the first day that it's available, because they truly want to have the peace of mind of sending their kids to school fully vaccinated. You'll have some who are on the fence and want to wait and see what happens as it's rolled out to tens and hundreds of thousands of children. And then you'll have some parents who say absolutely not, just like we see with adults. So it will break down. I would not be surprised if there are more parents who are hesitant about giving it to their children than they are about getting it themselves.
Right. And what about those parents with a 3 or 4-year-old who they want to get vaccinated? They won't be part of this expanded group if it's authorized. Explain why there's this dividing line, and when could those youngest age groups be eligible in the future?
Yeah, so the trials are still being done. They need to get more children in those younger age groups to be able to determine, again, whether those children get the same levels of antibody response. And my understanding is it won't be before the end of the year that any of the companies, and I think Pfizer is first in line again, to be able to present that data.
For children who are older than 12 who are already eligible to take the vaccine, we've seen some school districts now mandating those vaccines. Where do public health officials stand on doing that? Is that the best way to get more children vaccinated, or does it only add to the political divide on this issue by making it a mandate?
Yeah, you know, I think the nation is pretty divided when it comes to mandates. I think that there is a strong case to be made for vaccine mandates in those for whom they're eligible. And when you think about what the experience would be like for children in middle school and high school if vaccines were required, it would be a very different story. If vaccines were only an issue of protecting the individual who was getting vaccinated, it would be one thing, but they're critically important to protecting those people around that individual people, those who can't get vaccinated, and people with all kinds of immune problems, medical conditions where they didn't get a good response. So I tend to come down in the vaccine mandate camp. As an employer, we're requiring anyone who comes into our building to be fully vaccinated. And I think that ensures that all of our workers at our institution are safe. I think it's the way to go.
Lastly, Dr. B, we know that for the vast majority of this pandemic, it's still a pandemic of the unvaccinated. So where do you see us right now on the trajectory of getting this Delta variant under control and reducing cases, and most importantly, the hospitalizations and deaths?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the curves, it's starting to come down in the United States. It's not fully understood why the pandemic seems to cycle in these waves, but it looks like thankfully we're coming down. But it's at a time where we're also coming into the fall. We'll be coming into the winter, and I worry that if we don't get first-time vaccinators, if we don't get that number to go up, this will be a very, very difficult winter as we see the flu arrive, we see other viruses arrive, and we see fewer people being willing to wear masks for yet another winter.
And perhaps a lot more people going indoors as well on top of all of that. Dr. Richard Besser, always a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you, Lindsay. Great talking with you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.